My teacher told me I'd never be good at poetry because I'm dyslexic. But so far I've made 3 jugs in a vase and they're lovely. A newlywed farmer and his wife were visited by her mother, who immediately demanded an inspection of the place. While they were walking through the barn, the farmer's mule suddenly reared up and kicked the mother-in-law, unfortunately killing her instantly. At the funeral service, the farmer stood near the casket and greeted folks as they walked by. The pastor noticed that whenever a woman would whisper something to the farmer, he would nod his head yes and say something. Whenever a man walked by and whispered to the farmer, he would shake his head no and mumble a reply. Curious, the pastor later asked the farmer what that was all about. The farmer replied, "The women would say, 'What a terrible tragedy,' and I would nod my head and say, 'Yes, it was.' The men would ask, 'You want to sell that mule?' and I would shake my head and say, 'Can't. It's all booked up for a year.'" A sperm cell contains about 37.5 megabytes of information. There are about 100 million sperm cells per ml. The average ejaculation is about 2.25 milliliters, and takes about 5 seconds. This makes the average bandwidth of the human penis 1,687 terabytes per second. I know, that's a lot of information to swallow. A Jewish man on the subway is reading an Arab newspaper. A friend of his, who happened to be riding in the same subway car, noticed the strange phenomenon. Very upset, he approached him. "Moshe, have you lost your mind? Why are you reading an Arab newspaper?" Moshe replied, "I used to read the Jewish newspaper, but what did I find? Jews being persecuted, Israel being attacked, Jews disappearing through assimilation and intermarriage, Jews living in poverty. So I switched to the Arab newspaper. Now what do I find? Jews own all the banks, Jews control the media, Jews are all rich and powerful, Jews rule the world. The news is so much better. I asked my wife to dress up as a nurse tonight, to fulfill my fantasy that we have health insurance. Apple really is the most futuristic company out there. They have already adjusted their prices for the next 50 years of inflation. The 2020 election results are in. Oh sorry, this is just for us Russians. Can a woman make her husband a millionaire? Of course, if he's a billionaire. A woman and her lover were in bed when the woman heard her husband getting back. The woman said, "Quick, rub baby powder on you and pretend to be a statue." The lover did that. The husband walked into the room. "Honey, what's this statue doing here?" he asked. "I saw that the smith got one, so I decided to get one as well," she replied. The husband got into bed, and the woman fell asleep. A few hours later, after checking his wife was asleep, he quietly got up, walked into the kitchen, made a sandwich and got a glass of milk, came back, and went to the statue. "Here, have something to eat and drink." I stood like an idiot for 3 days at the Smiths, and no one offered me anything to eat. An old Holocaust survivor dies and goes up to heaven. He asks God, "How do you get a girl's number in Auschwitz?" "Roll up her sleeve." God doesn't laugh. The Jew shrugs and says, I guess you had to be there to understand. If I got a dime every time I didn't understand what's going on, I'd be like, why are you giving me these dimes? Today I learned that humans eat more bananas than monkeys. I can't remember the last time I ate a monkey.